Okay, we've got a little bit of an update on the early voting counts so far. To put it in perspective, there were 4,894,383 mail-in and early in-person votes already cast as of October 14th, which is today. Out of that, 51% of them were Democrat. 33% of them were Republican, and 16% of them were independent, undecided. Put that in a national perspective, we had 37,190,346 mail-in or early in-person votes requested nationally. Out of them, 46% were Democrat, 29% were Republican, and 25% were independent. So it has been actually very, very, very interesting so far. We have, now we can go state by state here. Maine, 40% Democrats, 49% Democrats, 25% Republicans, 26% is independents. Vermont, we have 65% Democrats, 22% Republicans, 13% independent. New Hampshire, Democrats are sitting at 39%, Republicans are sitting at 32%, and the other is 29%. Rhode Island, there is no reported results as of right now. Massachusetts, we have 39% Democrats, 7% Republicans, 54% independent or did not answer yet. We have New York, Democrats, 54%, Republicans, 25%, and other unanswered, independent is 21%. We have Michigan, Democrats are at 57%, Republicans are at 34%, and other is 9%. Minnesota, we have Democrats at 46%, other at 37%, and Republicans at 17%. North Dakota, we have Republicans at 44%, Democrats at 15%, and other at 41%. Montana, Republicans at 45%, other at 30%, Democrats at 25%. Idaho, we have Republicans at 55%, Democrats at 23%, other at 22%. Washington, the state of Washington doesn't have any results reported, neither does Oregon. Utah, Republicans 51%, Democrats 43%, other is 6%. We have Wyoming, Republicans 77%, Democrats 16%, and other is 7%. South Dakota, Republicans 53%, Democrats 29%, other is 18%. Iowa, we have Democrats at 50%, Republicans at 29%, and the other is 21%. Wisconsin, the other is 41%, the Democrats are at 40%, and the Republicans are at 19%. Ohio, we have Republicans at 51%, Democrats at 42%, and the other is 7%. Pennsylvania, yes, good old PA, Democrats are at 69%, Republicans are 23%, and the other is 8%. New Jersey, Democrats are at 64%, Republicans are at 21%, and the other is 15%. Connecticut, we have Democrats at 46%, other at 31%, Republicans at 23%. Delaware, we have Democrats at 62%, Republicans at 23%, and the other at 15%. Maryland, Democrats are at 67%, Republicans are at 19%, and the other is 14%. Virginia, Democrats 53%. In Virginia, Republicans 38%, and the other is 9%. West Virginia, Democrats at 46%, Republicans at 36%, and the other is 18%. Indiana, we have Republicans at 53%, Democrats at 40%, and the other is 7%. We have Illinois, Democrats 51%, Republicans 41%, and the other is 8%. Nebraska, Democrats at 43%, Republicans at 40%, and the other at 17%. Colorado, Democrats are at 50%. The other is 37%, and Republicans are at 13%. Nevada, Republicans 48%, other is 27%, Democrats 25%. California, Democrats at 49%, Republicans at 30%, the other is 21%. Arizona, we have Republicans at 50%, Democrats at 28%, and the other is 22%. New Mexico is Democrats 50%, Republicans 38%, and the other is 12%. Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, South Carolina, no results reported. And this is, again, mail-in and early person votes already cast. North Carolina, Democrats 38%, other is 35%, Republican is 27%. Georgia, we have Democrats at 48%, Republicans at 45%, and other at 7%. Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana has not reported. We have Oklahoma, Republicans 51%, Democrats 37%, and the other is 12%. Arkansas, the other is 48%, Republicans are at 30%, and Democrats are at 22%. Hawaii has not reported. Texas, Republicans are at 60%, Democrats are 34%, and the other is 6%. And last but not least, we have Florida. Democrats are at 43% in Florida. Republicans are at 37% in Florida, and the other is 20%. Now, that is what has already been turned in for early in-person voting and mail-in ballots. That is as of today. So that gives you an indication. Republicans are at 51% nationally at votes already cast. Democrats are at 51% nationally at votes already cast. Republicans are at 33% at votes already cast, and independent third party is 16% at votes already cast. Now, as we know, Democrats historically kind of make up the majority of the early voting. We will see how this all plays out. Not all of the votes are in yet. We've got 37.19 million votes, mail-in and early person votes requested, and barely 5 million of them. So we still have 32 million to go, but it's already off to a pretty good start for the Democrats. 51% to 33% is a pretty good stretch. And based on the registered parties of the other people that requested these ballots, we're at 46% as Democrats and 29% Republican and 25% independent. So who knows where that 25% is going to land. And it looks pretty good for that. It's just the in-person votes the day of, and that's what we're looking at. All right. Everybody, do not get complacent. We need to make sure that everyone who can vote gets out there and votes blue all the way down the ticket. We need to make sure we are represented in Congress so justice can be served and progress can be made where it's important. And Republicans, if you are still not sure where you want to be, first off, do some homework, check on the facts, check on your problems, check on the solutions that were put up, and whether or not your guy you voted for, your woman you voted for actually did represent you. If not, you need to change your vote. And nobody is looking over your shoulder in the voting booth. Stay diligent, stay educated, and be kind. We are all in this together. Most importantly, we are all Americans. Let's get back to the united part. We could rebuild the Republican Party later if you want to. But this time around, be smart and be a patriot.